My boss loves to call me at 6:15 a.m. to ask me if I would like to fill the shifts of the people who just called in sick. This is an everyday thing. I was bored and frustrated, so I decided to volunteer at 3:30 a.m. to call this same manager to ask if they needed extra help. He got super pissed and tried to write me up for it. I showed the GM the timestamps of the calls I had received. I don't get calls anymore.
Be careful what you ask for. You just might get it. I used to be a retail manager at a convenience store. And as such, not a morning person, would have to be at work at 5 a.m. Knowing how I myself felt about having to be awake at that hour, I would do my best to be cheerful and make my customers smile by lightly joking a bit and telling them to have a wonderful day as we finished our transactions. One morning, one of our regulars came in, and I greeted her brightly as she approached the counter. She snarled at me that she hated my cheerful demeanor and that I always told her to have a wonderful day, then demanded that I never so much as smile at her again. I apologized for my cheerfulness and told her that I would immediately and permanently comply with her wishes. I proceeded to do exactly that. From that day forward, I'd treat other customers in my normal, cheerful way. But as she'd approach the counter, I'd stop smiling and bantering and drop into my natural resting bitch face. I would complete our transaction, then cheerfully turn to the next person in line and continue my banter. After about a month of this, the woman came back in at her normal time and complained about how much she hated that I wouldn't banter with her like I did the other customers, and how miserable it left her feeling all day. I reminded her of her previous demands and that she was getting exactly what she'd demanded. I also reminded her that I'd said that my lack of banter with her would be permanent. She continued to come in every morning at her usual time, and I continued to banter with the other customers, but would stop even smiling as she'd approach the counter, then turn to the next person in line and continue the banter. She continued to look miserable. Had she simply asked me to tone it down a bit, or said she just wasn't in the mood for banter that day, I would have adjusted accordingly. Instead, she got exactly what she asked for.
Way back when, I worked at a video store. Great job for a kid going through university. I also worked at a local IT company doing business call-outs/fix issues. We got some new owners at the video store. Eventually, something went wrong with the cash drawer's connection to the PC. I offered to look at it for normal video store pay rates, $15 an hour or so back then. I was quickly told, no, we will get a professional. Fine, no issue. By now, you know where this is going. They call the local computer store. They say, sure, we will send our guy around straight away. The computer store calls me. I answer in front of the new owners and accept the work. I turn to them and say, sorry, now it's computer job rate, $70 an hour. Edit. They accepted the rate and I fixed the issue. Going forward, we agreed to pay me directly at a higher rate, but not as much as they paid via the computer store.
How did they react?
They just accepted it. I fixed the issue and they paid the invoice. They weren't bad people. They probably laugh about it now. They just wanted to ensure the person working on their business knew what they were doing. I'm sure they were happy future issues were cheaper though. If you want more stories, subscribe to the channel, give it a like, and leave a comment about any similar stories you've experienced.